Welcome to our discussion on CBDC regulation in the Asia-Pacific region. It's fascinating how different countries are navigating the digital transition of fiat currency.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like each nation has its own flavor, right?
Exactly. We see governments designing distinct frameworks. So while one country might encourage rapid innovation, another might lean into, caution and control in how this digital transformation integrates with existing finance.
And that difference really comes through when you look at cases like Australia versus, say, China, doesn't it?
For sure, Australia is experimenting with projects like Dunbar and Atom. It's like they're playing with multi-CBDC platforms to see if direct institution-to-institution transactions can truly lower costs and speed up transfers. Meanwhile, they've not yet committed to an in-house CBDC, keeping their cards close to the chest.
Right, and that experimental nature seems to be a recurring theme. What about India? They've been quite active with crypto too, despite regulatory challenges.
Yes, India is interesting. Despite its rather irregular stance on crypto, taxing every crypto transaction with TDS and unrealized gains, the government is set to launch the digital rupee. It's defined as a 1.1 digitized version of the rupee, and they're rolling it out in phases to minimize disruption.
Yep. That phased approach really makes sense, considering the need to ensure traditional finance isn't completely upended overnight.
Exactly. And then you have China, which is kind of a pioneer with their eCNY. It's a full-scale national experiment. The eCNY launched in early 2022 and is intended to provide a cheaper, more efficient payment method.
Right.
But it's also a tool for unprecedented government oversight, which really contrasts with some other regions.
Speaking of oversight, isn't it interesting how the concept of censorship and controlled access ties in with these CBDC implementations, especially in how governments manage technology?
Yeah, absolutely. The regulations not only pave the way for innovation, but also act as gatekeepers. They determine who accesses what technology and regulate disruptive trends, almost like a curated experiment in digital finance.
So, would you agree that these experiments are about striking a balance between modernization and control?
Totally. It's like walking on a tightrope between retaining the status quo of traditional finance and embracing the benefits of digitization. South Korea provides a good example. They're deep into multi-phase testing for things like cross-border remittance and offline payments.
And Singapore too, isn't it? They seem really forward-thinking, even launching Project Orchid to study retail CBDCs.
Exactly. Singapore stands out. Their regulator actively pushes licensing for crypto operations, and Project Orchid is all about understanding the risks and rewards of a digital currency that's accessible to everyday users.
Right. But here's a thought. Don't you find it a bit contradictory? I mean, on one side, these CBDCs aim to streamline transactions and reduce costs, yet they also serve as a tool for state surveillance and potential censorship.
Well, you've hit on something interesting. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, digitizing fiat currency can drastically reduce transaction times and operational costs, which is essential for nations facing problems like hyperinflation. But on the other hand, it does give governments enhanced ability to monitor financial flows. So yes, there is this inherent trade-off.
It reminds me of an architect designing a building with hidden cameras. Sound efficient, but a bit unsettling, right?
Exactly. It's like you build in all these safety features, but then also have an omnipresent oversight. That challenge is very real in nations where these systems could be exploited for control rather than purely for efficiency.
And what about Indonesia? Their approach seems to be a bit different, using CBDCs as a means to curb crypto investments.
Yes, Indonesia's strategy is pretty pragmatic. They see CBDCs not just as a modern upgrade, but as a layering of regulation to discourage excessive crypto use while aligning with Islamic banking principles.
It's fascinating how each country tailors the digital currency narrative to its own economic and social context.
Absolutely. Take Japan, for example. They're exploring the technical feasibility and auditing roles with a keen interest in making anti-money laundering enhancements and privacy features its focus. It's a side-by-side exploration with their traditional banking system.
And then Malaysia, always a collaborative player. They even joined in Project Dunbar. It seems like there's a strong regional cooperation element in these experiments.
Yeah, Malaysia is actively engaging in pilot projects and research to beef up their internal policies before making any announcements about a full-scale launch. It's all about cautious precision.
Yep. New Zealand too is quite interesting. They've issued a paper seeking public feedback. Isn't that a rare democratic twist in CBDC design?
Yes, New Zealand's approach invites public participation, targeting illegal activities, and enhancing transparency. But still, nothing concrete has been launched yet.
Exactly.
It's all very exploratory.
Then there's Pakistan, which seems to be on the fence, balancing fast-tracking financial inclusion with a historical anti-crypto sentiment. How do you see that playing out?
Pakistan is definitely in an interesting position. Their central bank is testing the waters, considering CBDCs as a tool to reduce inefficiency and corruption, but the anti-crypto stance introduces a layer of conservatism that might delay or reshape their digital currency policies.
Yeah, and let's not forget Myanmar. That's a completely different context given the military regime. They're considering a kyat-based digital version, but with so many political complexities, it's a contentious dialogue.
Absolutely, Myanmar's approach is heavily weighed against pros and cons, and it's still unclear if they'll build it in-house or outsource it. It's like every move could have significant political implications.
So we have a spectrum here, from nations keen on leveraging CBDCs to modernize their finances, to those exploring it as a means of enhanced control or even as a tool against crypto disruptions.
Exactly. And the ripple effect across global finance is noteworthy. These experiments in the Asia-Pacific aren't isolated. They could influence how other regions approach digital currencies in the future.
I wonder though, could this heterogeneity cause friction when it comes to international transactions? Say if one nation's CBDC is designed very differently from another's.
That's a valid critique. It's like trying to connect puzzle pieces that were made for different puzzles. There might be interoperability challenges and varying standards that could complicate cross-border settlements.
Yeah, that sounds like a real hurdle. And then we add in the element of regulatory control and potential censorship. It's not just about technical issues, it's also about governance philosophy.
Precisely. The idea is to improve efficiency, lower costs, and boost financial inclusion. Yet it simultaneously raises concerns over privacy and government overreach. It's a balancing act, really.
It's almost like watching a high-stakes chess game, with every move carrying weight both economically and politically.
That's a great analogy. Each country's strategy, whether it's a robust pilot project or an experimental phase, shapes not only its domestic market, but potentially the global financial ecosystem.
Yeah, totally. Overall, it sounds like these CBDC experiments are not just about digital efficiency, but also about realigning power structures in finance and governance.
Absolutely. And as these regulations evolve, they could set the stage for a completely new era of digital money. One where speed, cost, and unfortunately, control all interplay in unexpected ways.
Thanks for such an in-depth look at the topic. It's clear that the Asia-Pacific region is at the forefront of an evolving financial revolution, with lessons for the rest of the world.
Of course. And as always, keeping a close eye on these diverse experiments will help us understand and shape the future of digital finance.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this unfolds. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring,